Life, in its mysterious and unending complexity, is a path we all walk without a perfect map. The journey of self-discovery is not merely a book about finding oneself, it is an invitation to step into the quiet, uncharted spaces within, where our truest essence waits to be uncovered. It reminds us that self-discovery is not a single moment of revelation, but a lifelong unfolding, where each step we take reveals more of who we are meant to be. The author begins by gently dismantling the illusion that our identity is something fixed, handed to us at birth, or defined by the labels society places upon us. Instead, they describe it as a fluid, evolving mosaic, shaped by our experiences, choices, and the meaning we assign to them. We are reminded that the roles we play, student, parent, professional, friend, are merely garments we wear in the theater of life. They serve a purpose, but they do not define our soul. This perspective is both liberating and daunting. Liberating, because it means we are not trapped by the past or by others' expectations. Daunting, because it places the responsibility of shaping our lives back into our own hands. Through a series of vivid examples, the book invites us to examine the scripts we have been unconsciously following. The young woman who pursued a corporate career not because she loved it, but because her parents believed it was the only respectable path. The man who carried the burden of a childhood mistake for decades, letting it quietly dictate every choice he made. The artist who abandoned her craft after one harsh critique, living with the hollow ache of unlived potential. These stories serve as mirrors, encouraging the reader to pause and ask, whose life am I truly living? One of the central messages of the book is that self-discovery requires courage, not the loud, cinematic kind, but the quiet bravery of sitting alone with oneself, without distractions, and listening. In a world that thrives on noise and constant stimulation, this is no small act. The author describes this stillness as meeting yourself for the first time, a process that can be both uncomfortable and profoundly beautiful. When we strip away the voices of others, the digital chatter, and the endless to-do lists, we often find truths we've been avoiding, a dream we have buried, a hurt we have never healed, or a fear that has been quietly steering our choices. The book emphasizes that these discoveries are not meant to be judged but embraced. Every flaw, every regret, every unfulfilled longing is part of the tapestry that makes us whole. The author uses the metaphor of a cracked clay pot, which, when illuminated from within, lets the light escape through its imperfections. Our cracks are not signs of failure, they are the very places where our light can shine through, touching others in ways our perfection never could. The journey, however, is not purely internal. The author points out that we often discover ourselves most clearly through our connections with others. Relationships act as mirrors, reflecting back both our strengths and our shadows. The friend who challenges us to be braver, the partner who exposes our insecurities, the stranger whose kindness awakens a forgotten compassion within us, these encounters are not random. They are invitations to grow. The key is to approach them not with defensiveness, but with curiosity. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" the book urges us to ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" A particularly moving section focuses on the idea of shedding skins. Just as a snake must periodically release the layer that no longer fits, we too must be willing to let go of versions of ourselves that have outlived their purpose. This can mean leaving behind beliefs that once felt safe, ending relationships that no longer nurture our growth, or stepping away from roles we have outgrown. The shedding is rarely comfortable, it often feels like loss. But as the author reminds us, without this release, we cannot step into the larger life waiting for us. The book also addresses one of the greatest obstacles to self-discovery, fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. The author does not suggest we banish fear, that would be unrealistic, but rather that we learn to walk alongside it. They share the story of a man who longed to travel the world but was paralyzed by the thought of leaving the familiar behind. Eventually, he decided to take a single, small step, a weekend trip to a nearby city. That first step did not erase his fear, but it taught him that courage is built in increments. Each act of moving forward despite fear strengthens the muscle of trust, trust in oneself, trust in life. Practical wisdom is woven throughout the narrative. The author offers simple but profound practices. Journaling not just about events but about feelings, spending a few minutes each day in silence to hear one's own thoughts, engaging in activities that awaken curiosity and wonder, asking loved ones, "What is something you see in me that I might not see in myself?" These are not grand, sweeping gestures, but daily acts of presence that, over time, deepen our understanding of who we are. Transformation. the book reminds us, is rarely linear. There will be times when we feel as though we are moving backwards, revisiting old patterns or losing sight of our path. The author likens this to climbing a mountain shrouded in mist. There are moments when the summit disappears from view, and we may even wonder if we're still on the right trail. But every step, even the hesitant ones, contributes to the journey. Self-discovery is less about reaching a final destination and more about learning to walk with awareness, to be fully present in the moment you are in. One of the most touching insights comes near the end, the idea that self-discovery is not selfish. In fact, it is one of the most generous acts we can offer the world. When we know ourselves, our values, our strengths, our purpose, we show up with clarity and authenticity. We stop living from a place of people-pleasing or performance and start living from truth. This authenticity becomes a gift, inspiring others to seek their own truths. The author shares the example of a teacher who, after years of teaching a standard curriculum, began incorporating her passion for storytelling into her lessons. Not only did her students become more engaged, but they too began sharing more of themselves, creating a ripple of openness and connection. The book closes with an empowering reminder: you do not need to have everything figured out before you begin. The journey of self-discovery does not require a grand plan or a perfect starting point. It requires only a willingness to take the first step, however small, and to remain open to what you find along the way. Life will continue to surprise, challenge, and transform you, and in each moment, you have the choice to meet it with curiosity and courage. In the end, the journey of self-discovery is not just about finding yourself, it is about creating yourself. It is about recognizing that who you are is not a static truth hidden somewhere waiting to be uncovered, but a living, breathing work of art that you shape with every thought, choice, and act of love. It is an invitation to live with both humility and wonder, to honor your past without being confined by it, and to step into each day as a chance to know yourself a little more deeply. If you are willing to embark on this journey, to meet yourself with honesty, to listen without judgment, and to follow the quiet pull of your own soul, you will find that the path is not lonely. For in the process of truly knowing yourself, you discover your deepest connection to the world, and to the endless, unfolding beauty of life itself.